Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is D back again with another movie review, and this is clearly a different kind of format than I usually do my reviews in, but I figured I would give this a try, something a little different. I figured, why not? I wanted to make sure to go ahead and get a review in on Scream 4. I finally rewatched the movie. I recently did a review for Scream 5, and within that review, I kind of talked about how I thought that I hadn't actually seen Scream 4 because I couldn't really remember anything about it. But it turns out I actually had seen Scream 4 before. I just had forgot a whole lot about it. So in rewatching it recently really kind of jogged a lot of my memory. So I really wanted to just kind of quickly kind of talk about the film because I actually was pretty entertained by it. Thought it was actually pretty good, and I do see why people seem to hold it in such, relatively high regard. So some of my quick positives about it: I do think the film is good fun without getting silly. There's particularly like there's certain moments where things can get kind of, too silly. I don't want to feel like I'm watching the scary movie films, the spoof films, when I'm watching an actual legit Scream film, and this movie does not do that. Good fun with kind of lighthearted, humorous moments at times, but a good balance of things to where it doesn't get silly. The meta nature of the franchise that continues, and it's very well done here. They start the film out from the get-go really kind of owning the kind of the meta style that the movie and the franchise is known for. Also, Neve Campbell, like I say here, she's a required ingredient, just like Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween franchise. I feel like you need Neve Campbell or her presence to some degree to be in a Scream film, and she's here. She does a good job. She's continues to be likable as the protagonist in these films. Also, there are some strong, effective moments of violence and suspense. That's actually the portions of this film that actually surprised me the most, because I feel like I should have remembered some of these moments, but there are some really strong moments of violence. Some good moments of suspense, and so very well done, just carnage, if you will, in this movie. Rewatching this movie after recently watching Scream 5 really boosted Scream 4's effectiveness. Scream 5, I did enjoy Scream 5, but compared to Scream 4, Scream 5 does feel a lot more like kind of trip down memory lane nostalgia, kind of fan service, and a little bit more light of a film compared to Scream 4. And I liked Scream 5, but just comparing it to Scream 4, there is a clear difference. Also, Wes Craven was involved with Scream 4, of course, and then Kevin Williamson was involved, so it was really just kind of like you had the best team of people that you would want to work on a Scream sequel. You had them there with Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. So there's just a clear kind of difference in the whole energy of the film. And speaking of energy of the film, due to the presence of Stabathon, the kind of the stab movie related film viewing festival or whatever that they're doing within the movie, due to the presence of that, and along with some of the music that's going on in this movie, the soundtrack and the score and whatnot, there is a heavy Halloween kind of energy to this movie. And I mean Halloween in terms of the actual season of Halloween, the holiday and whatnot. And that's always a plus for me in these type of movies, a slasher with that Halloween energy. That's always a good thing to me. Halloween is a long ways away, I know, but this is a positive in this film. Now, let's do the negatives here. Alright, so negatives. As usual, the main negative, and I do want to point out, I didn't talk about it at the beginning of this, but there are some, misspellings and things like that. I thought I've corrected those, but apparently I didn't. So I am aware that my spelling is not up to par in some of these slides or whatever. But the main negative for this film is kind of the same negative that it is for most of the other films, and that's once the mask comes off, once the villains are revealed, the movie loses some steam, you know. But I will say this movie in particularly does manage to maintain a certain level of menace even beyond the unmasking point. So I got to give the film credit for that. Even once characters are unmasked, there is a level of kind of menace and villainy that stays and is you know, effective there, where it's like, okay, the mask is off this person, but there's still like a problem, and you know, I'm still very uncomfortable around them, and they need to be taken care of, that kind of thing. And sure, you could say technically you have that with all of the Scream films, but you know, watching this, I did feel there was a little bit of a kind of heavier amount of evil even beyond once the unmasking happen. So, and that could have just been perception. You know, I might rewatch Scream 2 and feel the same way about that. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. But that's my main negative about this film, and it's the same thing that I have with all the Scream films. Once the mask comes off, you know, a lot of the suspense, a lot of that kind of horror element starts to seep away a little bit. So, you know, there is that. Now, my overall thought about this film: overall fun, entertaining, and at times very visceral sequel. Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson, their presence it's clearly felt, particularly for me after having just seen Scream 5 before rewatching Scream 4. When you do it in that order, you do see a clear kind of difference in terms of quality, I guess. And I don't mean to say that with a kind of disrespectful tone towards Scream 5, because I like Scream 5, but you can tell there is a difference between the two films. I enjoyed Scream 5, but all things considered, Scream 4, I do have to say, was better. But Scream 4, clearly I recommend it if you're a fan of the franchise. And actually watching Scream 5, and I'm constantly trying to get my focus right here, but after watching Scream 5 and then watching Scream 4, and I already knew I held Scream 1 and 2 in high regard, I have a increased kind of respect for this franchise now. This is a strong horror franchise, stronger than I actually originally probably thought. So good thing has resulted from me rewatching and watching for the first time in Scream 5's case, you know, watching these films. So there it is, you guys. We'll see how this turns out in the editing process. This is a different way for me to do these reviews. I know it's kind of awkward because I'm not looking at the camera at all. This is a strange way to do a movie review, but we'll see how it turns out. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. As always, I will catch you on the next go round.